Welcome back, Agent. You're clear to dock at docking port 1.
Right, Captain. When you have a few moments, there's something I'd like to discuss. So, what's new with you today?
I had a friend on the Regana. I hope I'll be able to see him next time we're on shore leave.
Yes?
Do you have anything to report? We got the message from the Regana about Austin Rake. We had him dropped off at a separate port, off the books. Suffice to say, he's got a lot to answer for. That's something we're looking into, but it doesn't seem like he knows much. He might be better served as bait. For now, we'll keep him in the Brig. Perhaps you could pay him a visit there sometime? I'm sure he'd be pleased to see you. That's a smart line to follow. Part of this role you're playing means having to make hard choices. Just remember not to lose yourself in the part.
I'll do my part to make certain that doesn't happen, Commander.
Oh, one more thing before we move on. For transparency's sake, you should know we were the ones that hired Ecliptic to attack Neva's ship. There was concern after what happened with the Regana that you might have trouble earning Neva's trust. Coming to her rescue ensured that would not be a problem. They are mercenaries for hire. If they are paid enough money, Ecliptic would attack the Vigilance. It wasn't terribly difficult to convince them to attack an isolated Crimson Fleet ship. Just expensive. Ah, so I take it you have good news. Were you able to join the fleet? Then it worked. You're in. Sounds like everything is going as expected. Now it's time for the next phase of the mission.
Our intel on Saoirse was correct. After we received reports on your interaction with Adler Kemp, we picked up on your rendezvous with Neva Mora.
Our files indicate she's second in command, so getting on her good side will ensure you get into the Crimson Fleet. The woman has a record that could stretch across Sol and back. She started young as one of Neon's street rats, and worked her way up to second in command. She's a force to be reckoned with, so don't underestimate her. Yes, you passed your first test and you're still alive. But before we get too confident, that either means she suspects nothing, or she intends to make an example of you later. Just remember, these are ruthless criminals, so don't let your guard down.
And their ruthlessness is only surpassed by their cunning. You should proceed with caution, regardless of how well you think you've ingratiated yourself.
So what's next for you on Neva's agenda? The Vigilance is equipped with one of the most advanced intelligence suites in the UC fleet. Nothing slips through. You can rest assured, if the Crimson Fleet had any access to our whereabouts or have infiltrated our security, we'd know. As long as you're here, your identity is safe. Where you'll meet Delgado, no doubt.
Delgado is the leader of the Crimson Fleet. I have a profile here with some information on his background. You'll want to know the individual cadences of every member of the fleet, but Delgado's most of all.
Agreed. The last thing we need is to infiltrate the fleet, only to be kicked out because we've underestimated one of their people.
I don't disagree, but it's important to know your enemy and the best way to defeat them. In any case, now that you're with the fleet, you'll be operating independently. We will shadow you eventually, but we'll need to maintain our distance for now, especially while you're on the key. This will also give us time to bolster our defenses, should we need to engage with the fleet in the future.
Sir, on that note, shall we begin implementing the upgrade to our shields?
Immediately, Lieutenant. Notify the engineers and relay the information to the crew. I hope your entry into the fleet has overcome any doubts you may have had regarding your mission. It's certainly increased my estimates on success. Keep up the good work. We'll expect further reports. Dismissed.
I have something I need to discuss with you.
Things are progressing rather quickly. I'm sure the commander is pleased. We don't have a full map of the fleet's roster. The members change too quickly. 2 reasons. First, Commander Akande's playing this operation extremely close to the vest. That means keeping prisoners under his own roof until this is resolved. Second, this is an undercover mission. For our safety and yours, we need to keep these prisoners out of the spotlight. That's right. It's something we've requested a while ago, in preparation for a future conflict with the fleet. Once we finalize everything and run a few tests, we'll have the defenses needed for a jump to the Crick system when the time comes. The system was originally called Alpha Ophiuchi, until a flag was planted there by Jasper Cricks, the founder of the Crimson Fleet. Since it was crucial that space travelers avoided that system, navigators marked it as Cricks on star maps as a warning. They could have just as easily labeled it Crimson Fleet, so I'm guessing the pirates themselves were responsible for spreading their leader's name. Over the years, people forgot the system's original designation and started calling it the Crick system. It's been that way ever since. Sure, we have a database of profiles you can read, which should help you ingratiate yourself with the group. However, the profiles are a guide, not gospel. Use what you can, fill in the blanks, and play off that. I imagine when you're done, you'll be able to generate far more accurate profiles than what we have in our system. Good. The more you find, the stronger our case.
I can't believe you ate those alien plants we picked up.
Interesting. Looks like you've been meeting up regularly with Neva Mora to transfer goods and cash from Sidonia. Which means the Crimson Fleet's just lost one of their drop points. That should set them back a bit. Anything else? All right. Keep up the good work. Good luck on the key.
First mission in the books and no casualties. Good work. Yes, what?
We got a wager going over whether the fleet would let you in or leave you for dead. And, unless you're a zombie, I owe the ops team lunch.
Okay, hello. Wherever the Crimson Fleet go, we'll follow.
Well, Mr. Doherty, your diagnostics check out, so that's good. Oof, but given your age, it looks like your rotational gears are due for a viscosity check. Ooh, and...
Most of our operations team graduated top of their class at the Academy. If there's fleet out there, we'll find it. Sys-Def Marines are the best of the best.
As a former convict, you've seen the inside of a cell. Stay out of mine and we'll get along just fine. Welcome to the Brig. As a member of Sys-Def, you may talk with the prisoners as long as you are mindful of operation security. As a personal rule, I simply ask that you adhere to UC Navy standards of cleanliness at all times. That means no mud on your boots, your hands are washed, and you are free of any contagious diseases.
Okay, but if you hear anything else, keep the lieutenant posted.
Besides the fact that it's healthier, a sanitary brig is important for station security. In my experience, a prisoner will hide a shiv under a flake of dust if you let them. The cleaner a space is, the easier it is to spot irregularities, both inside the cell and out. Excellent. And all that being said, I understand your mission directive might call for flexibility on my part. So if you need to be a rum-drinking, swashbuckling pirate to do your job, then I will do my best to clean up after you. No, The prisoner surrendered willingly, as per the terms of your deal. This is probably the safest place for him, if the fleet want him dead. You can chat with him, if you haven't already. I'm sure he has a lot to say. That's a loaded question. We err on the side of caution here, short of any physical abuse. But with the Crimson Fleet, you have to be very careful. If you give them an inch, they'll take a parsec and find a way to stab you with it. Verbally, yes. There's a lot of bad blood with the fleet, stretching across generations, myself included. Sometimes that blood spills over. As long as there's no actual fighting, I tend to let both sides dish it out. Yes, although it's always a balance. At the end of the day, these are ruthless pirates, and they will take advantage of any weakness you show. But I'll be the first to admit it's not an exact science, and we've made mistakes in the past with both the carrot and the stick. As chief officer of this brig, my worst fear is that we'll someday repeat them. The cells you see here are for captured pirates and prisoners of war. If you apprehend any pirates during the course of your missions, they'll be detained here. We have multiple turrets attached to the ceiling. If you've met Ensign Betty, she's personally calibrated them to ensure they cover the entire area. That being said, firing the turrets should be considered a last resort. He's a good man, singularly focused when it comes to the fleet. But that's not to say he doesn't care about his crew. I can tell you a story as an example if you'd like to hear it. So, I'm a bit of a workaholic, and I forget to take breaks. One day, Commander Ikande passes by the brig and sees me at my desk. He takes one look at my haggard face and says, "Officer, I'm headed to the mess hall. If you're not with me in 15 minutes, your services will no longer be required on my ship." I tried to protest, but he was dead serious. So I went. We had lunch, talked about old times, and I went back to the brig, refreshed and ready to work. It's little things like that. You can see he pays attention, and that he cares about the people, not just the work. As a matter of fact, I have a favor to ask. I understand that part of your undercover work involves going to the fleet headquarters, namely, the key. While you're there, if you find anything pertaining to the history of the fleet, I'd be interested in learning about it. I agree. Just keep in mind this is a favor and you're free to ignore it. I only ask because this is such a rare opportunity and I'd hate to pass it up. I appreciate it. I've actually heard rumors about there being audio logs for an interview the founder of the fleet, Jasper Crix, did on the Key. I'm interested in anything he had to say regarding his time in prison and how the prisoners were treated. If you find anything like that, bring it back here and we'll take a listen. The fleet and the UC are intertwined, and I've always felt knowing that past as an important part of what we do. In life, history can be a guide, a warning, or at times, a reflection. And if you want to know which one it is, you have to stare it in the face, regardless of how ugly it is. Until next time.
Once we get rid of all the pirates, the galaxy will be a better place.
keep the brig ready for any pirates you bring in. Some of the guards don't take kindly to the prisoners, but we should try to maintain some decorum. Keep the floors and your nose clean and you can stay as long as you like.
The Trojan's a real neat freak. And as our superior officer, that makes us all neat freaks.
Captain, hello. I am satisfied to see that you survived your most recent sleep cycle.